Hi, welcome to Baskin Livestock. We're here looking at our bakery recycling process and production facility. We get in a lot of different products, a lot of potato chips. We service 2 or 3 different potato chip plants, a lot of it packaged, but there's usable, recyclable feed inside the package. We try to segregate based on quality. That's considered our high fat and dry product. Our low fat and dry product is, well, we mix cereal, pasta, lots of other different ingredients from different plants. We service about 40 to 50 plants throughout the Northeast, New England, into Long Island, New York City, down in that way. Wheat middlings is a byproduct of the flour production in Buffalo. We get wheat middlings from, it's a waste product, not a waste, it's a feed ingredient that we use to blend as a blending agent that we procure out of Buffalo from General Mills ADM. And then we also get a lot of packaged goods of all kinds, wetter products that we segregate down here that need to go through the dryer to make our final feed product. A lot of this stuff would end up in a landfill if it wasn't for my company or companies like mine that do this kind of work. We're able to recycle the feed ingredient in it, and we're going to use the packaging. We're going to use the packaging for heat and energy in our new process also. We also all kinds of breads and doughs and cookies and cakes and flours and all kinds of waste products that normally would go to could potentially end up in a landfill. We're able to make a usable feed ingredient out of them. The floor level in the building's about 8 foot below where we're standing, and our normal throughput here has been 14 to 1,600 tons a week of finished product out the door. This is where we're adding on to the building. The building's only 3 years old, but we're adding on in order to accommodate a new dryer. Our present dryer is 9.5 million BTUs. The new dryer is 25 million. Existing dryer is propane fired. The new dryer is solid fuel fired, meaning wood chips, wood waste, and we'll be able to burn the plastic and paper from the process also. So we're getting further value out of that product, avoiding that going to the landfill. The only thing we'll have to dispose of is a little bit of ash, but it's going to save us a huge amount of money in fuel cost, and it's going to allow us to triple our throughput. We're down in the mixing floor. The product is segregated by quality, mixed to a recipe in a mixer, and dropped on the floor to be loaded into grinding and screening equipment. All the plastic is removed, all the paper, all the contaminants. It goes over 2 or 3 different magnets. We try to get all the steel out of it. So the end product that we make is strictly a dry, clean, edible product for cattle, hog, and poultry feeds. A lot of this equipment we put together ourselves. I've got some really good, very talented individuals that work for us that have built a lot of this, and just off a drawing on a little piece of paper, we basically go through under a magnet, through a shredder, through a screen, and we collect the fines from the bottom of the screen is what we're after. We've got 2 separate milling operations going, one strictly for wet, one for dry. The wet is milled, ground, screened, and the clean, wet product is dried for ingredients. Our end product ends up in the load-out bays. They're loading a truck now. This truck, I believe, is headed for Vermont, to a feed mill in Vermont. The bulk of our product is sold in bulk form, just like you see it, being loaded with a payloader. It's considered a corn replacement. It goes into feed mills primarily. We sell a little bit direct to farms, but not very much at all. And we don't package anything. It's all bulk. And we try to make as consistent a product as possible. It's a 24-hour operation here. We start Sunday night at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, run straight through till Friday night at 9:30 at night, and we're busy 24. We're busy every 52 weeks of the year. There's no slow time in this business at all. This is where we keep our feed we consider our cattle feed. A lot of the ingredients that we get, a lot of byproducts that we get are too wet to be economically feasible to run through my dryer and make a dry bakery meal out of, but they still have feed value that we use at our cattle. I'm probably in the list of the world's worst farmers. I'm not a good farmer as far as growing crop. We're pretty good cattle people. We're decent business people. I'm a terrible farmer. So I have to depend on byproducts as well. Right behind me is distiller's grain, wet distillers. That comes out of an ethanol plant. In the corner there is corn gluten feed, which is a byproduct of the corn sweetener industry. It's a corn-based product, high protein, low fat, that comes out of a corn sweetener plant. In the corner here is apple pumments from an apple cider, apple juice manufacturer. Behind us is sweet corn silage. We use a lot of sweet corn silage. We actually do have some haylage, which is an ensiled grass hay crop. And as well as we get a lot more vegetables. There's carrots and peas and a lot of things that help us keep our feed cost in line. And we do a really good job performance-wise with the cattle we feed, with the products we have. We make the best of the resources available to us here. We're fortunate to be in an area that has a lot of these feeds available. It wasn't so the case when we were still in New England. We're real grateful. We've expanded. This is a new pit we made to handle more feed. We have enough product for our needs here. We can store over a year's worth of feed. It's April now. The cattle will be going out to grass soon. We'll have plenty of feed left over to start the new year before the corn crop starts to come back in again, or the vegetables start to come back in. We don't want to be completely used up of our ingredients, but we've designed this specially for that. All the leachate, all the runoff is collected, and this pit is designed specifically for our wet feeds to feed our cattle. We're also Baskin Livestock. We are in the livestock business as well as the bakery feed business, and this is some of the cattle that we raise. We fatten some Holstein steers, some beef steers, and we also raise a lot of dairy replacements. Cow doesn't milk till she calves. We sell them before they calve, or at any time for that matter. We sell a lot of cattle that go for export. I've got some guys that I buy the calves from and sell them back to them ready to go into a milking herd, milk replacements. And this is a barn that we just constructed last year. It's set up to hold about 300 head. The cattle are in groups according to, in this barn, according to where they came from and the stage of pregnancy. We have about 950 cattle on feed here, as well as quite a few others on other feedlots in the Midwest, the Far West, and in upstate New York besides. Total cattle inventory is around 6,000 to 7,000 head, depending on the time of year. Cattle are sold in big groups, a lot of them export, a lot of them private sale, a lot of cattle sold sight unseen on approval, that the purchaser doesn't see the cattle till they arrive at their farm, and that's quite a job to make sure that we are selling him something that he expects, and he likes what we have, and we like to do it, and we've done it for years with steady repeat customers, and that's really the key. One of the keys to our business is repeat customers. We use a lot of AI, artificial insemination, here on a lot of the dairy heifers that we raise and breed and sell, and these cattle here are getting ready to be going into the AI program here. They're locked up in headlocks like this, and once a day a breeder comes in and inseminates the cattle that are in heat and ready to be bred. But it's all part of the program here. It's a value-added service we do for the people that we raise the heifers for. It gives them a better quality offspring and increases the genetic potential of their herd, and that's what it's all about. We also have a complete shop here. We do all our own maintenance, a lot of our own repairs, quite a bit of fabrication for the mill, the farm, everything else we need. Usually it's quite packed in here. I guess they're getting caught up on repairs today, but we're doing some transmission work on that truck. I bought an old wreck truck we're going to use for a yard truck. We'll go through that and fix that, but any farm equipment, any kind of equipment we run, we can pretty well maintain. I've got a very talented staff of mechanics and welders and fabricators here that really help, really vital to keeping everything working properly and efficiently, and they do a heck of a good job at it. Another big part of what we do here is we graze a lot of grasslands, a lot of pasture. We've probably got 500 or 600 acres in pasture, and in the height of the grazing season, we'll have 800 heifers turned out to grass. Cattle do really good on the grass. That's what they're designed for. They do well. It's a cheap way, a relatively inexpensive way of growing the cattle up, and everybody really likes the cattle that we produce off this grass. It's the best renewable resource there is. And it's a vital part of what we do here. It makes a huge difference on the cattle quality, on the environment, on the cost of what we do. It's critical. When we first bought this place, it was so overgrown. We had a bush hog on the back of a tractor and a post driver on the front. And we followed the creek banks around to try to put fences in, because we had no idea what we're up against. The weeds are up over the top of the tractor, but it's really turned out into the best productive use of the ground we have is this pasture ground here. We do rent out our tillable, but we really like and are real fortunate to have the good grazing grass that we do have here. We're also on a nutrient management plan. This gentleman here is just coming back from spreading a load of liquid manure. We're on a CAFO plan, so we ensure that the nutrients are balanced. What we take off with a crop or grazing is replaced with some kind of fertilizer to keep the fertility up to standards. This was our original office 20 years ago when we first moved here. This is the old milking parlor on the farm. It's supposedly the first herringbone parlor in Genesee County. We've taken care of the hole in the floor here, and this is where it started. This was our original office. We've transformed it into a cattle office now with cattle drugs and supplies, and we've moved into a bigger, nicer office. But we spent 15 years in this office that we went from a staff of 2 or 3 to up to our present staff of almost 40. But we kind of come from humble beginnings here. That was my desk. That's where I sat and scratched my head and tried to figure out how to make things work. But we've graduated from this point. But this is where we started. And this is our new office facility we built approximately 4 years ago. We even have indoor plumbing in here. It was something that we never had before. It's air conditioned, heated, and a lot more room and a lot more pleasant for doing business and keeping track of things, and necessary for the growth that we've experienced. Our truck scale's right here, and we've got someone attending to the truck scale all the time, so everything's weighed in, weighed out, and everything's accounted for. And I guess I got to go back to work.